Hello and welcome to the Gavel. I am Benny Ark. The Senate resumed plenary in preparation for the arrival of the service chiefs to the upper chamber. For the second time, they demanded the presence of the service chiefs on the deteriorating state of insecurity across the country. Take a look.
Anticipation mounted as the Senate resumed plenary on the second legislative day of the week, with the expected arrival of service chiefs to the upper chamber. The worsening state of insecurity in the country has been a major subject of debate among the lawmakers. For this reason, the service chiefs have been summoned for a second time under the 10th Assembly to give explanations. The service chiefs were admitted into the chamber, but the absence of the National Security Advisor and the Chief of Defense Staff was noticeable.
The security chiefs to have interaction with us, to brief us on the efforts being made to curb this resurgence, and at the same time give us the opportunity to also make our suggestions for the betterment of the country. So please, whilst we welcome you, we want you to know that it is not because of the fact that we are not passing the buck. We are not blaming any of you for anything. We believe you are doing your best. We want to hear from you and also make contributions on how we can improve the situation. So we welcome you, but we are not complete. We would like to have also with you in attendance the Chief of Defense Staff. Is it the view of the Senate? We would like also to have the National Security Advisor in attendance. Is that the view of the Senate? So the clerk of the Senate has directed accordingly that you further invite the National Security Advisor, the Minister of Defense, the Minister of State Defense, the Minister of Police Affairs, the Minister of State Police Affairs, Minister of Interior, Minister of Finance, and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, in addition to the service chiefs who have honored the invitation of the Senate.
The protracted spate of abductions, banditry and armed robbery across the country has in the last few weeks seen an upsurge, and the Senate agrees that the nation, and the FCT in particular, is under threat. Meanwhile, the Senate has been given further reasons why the postponement was expedient. In an exclusive interview, the Senate spokesperson, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, explains that Nigerians will not take the Senate serious if it took on the matter in segments.
We don't want to be going back and forth anymore because it has reached that tempo whereby we have to get to where we are going in Nigeria. And it is very pertinent to ensure that we don't just see a sect now. 2 days after we now call another sect, Nigerians will not even take us very serious. So definitely it is not a matter of saying that if we invite the head, then the sub will just come and then we just take them and then we'll be waiting for another day. Definitely the National Security Advisor who is advising the President about the issue of security, who collects every security report and sends such to the President for action, then must be on seat. And not only that, the Chief of the Defense Staff, who is in charge of either the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, must be there. And definitely, we must bring in the economic team. We must bring in the security team. Then all of us must now sit down together. If it is for us to make laws to ensure that things are done properly and we get a result, then we do that. If it is for us to impress it on the executive, to make sure that what they are supposed to do, they do it, then we have to get that one. If to tell us that maybe the appropriation that we have been making, maybe we have been wrong on it, then they have to tell us. So what we are going to do, we will not even think of any reprimand unless they are there and we ask questions from them directly. And then after maybe a few days or weeks, and we cannot get the result, then we know what advice to give to the to the executive about the issues that are going on pertaining to security in Nigeria.
Still on security matters, the House of Representatives during plenary in the week carried on with its strings of sectoral debates, which started last year with the security chiefs on the country's internal security. Here is a report.
Tuesday's plenary in the House of Representatives was dedicated to the continuation of the series of sectorial debates by the House, which had commenced last year with the security chiefs on the country's internal security. The Green Chamber admitted the Ministers of Finance, Budget and National Planning, the CBN Governor, and the FIRS Chairman into the chamber for the debate.
The liquidity of the foreign exchange market for quite a while has been less than satisfactory, as a result of which the central bank has rolled out certain policies to ease that. That includes the need for the banks to maintain less of an open position or no position in certain circumstances. It has also included the whole issue of IMTOs having access to a free, transparent market whereby the volume of transactions that used to go to other places now goes officially within the system. So that and a whole host of other measures to ensure that we have transparency in that market and increase the volume of transactions that go through, which a number of questions have tried to find answers to.
We are not going to take the easy way out. And more than that, the budget provided more money, both on nominal and in real terms, than has ever been provided in the priority sectors.
Where we are as a nation economically is a much, much better place than we were on the 29th of May, 2023. If we look at the finances of the government today, there has been benefit to the Federation account. And likewise, there have been other benefits which have accrued as a result of the changes that have been made.
They respond to questions from lawmakers on improving the economy and reducing the cost of living, which is sparking pockets of debates across the country.
Last year, we painstakingly as a House passed a budget that was based on some indices on crude oil production and the dollar benchmark. As at today, those indices are far off point. My question is, given those indices, we will be able to implement the budget, and what steps are being taken to make sure that the budget is implemented or a supplementary budget is underway.
In our country today, the value of Naira has progressively declined from a state of concern to a state of fear and panic. But the value of other currencies across Africa have been largely stable. How do we reconcile their realities with Nigerian reality?
In line with the recent pronouncement of Mr. President that all oil revenues should be remitted to the CBN, I would like to know, does that go with gas revenue as well, which NNPC owes a substantial percentage of stake in the NLNG, and CBN as well? What measures are being put in place for the revenues from solid minerals not to have the same leakages that necessitated the pronouncement that all oil revenues should be going to the CBN? And same thing about the solid minerals. What's your plan for increasing solid minerals revenues so that it will not be solely dependent on oil revenue?
Being a former local government chairman, the NFIU has already passed the law that money should be paid directly to the local government, but it has never been implemented. So my question goes thus to the Minister of Finance, knowing of how the hardship of the poor is and economy is, as the economy is today, what effect or impact do you think that the full autonomy of local governments would have if granted and approved?
My question to my brother, the chairman FIRS, Mr. Zach, is to know what you're planning to do, or if you have it in plan, tax exchange. Because I'm aware that there was a time we were talking of tax credits for infrastructure. So I don't know if you are in talks with our counterparts in works to see if people could deploy their tax equivalent to infrastructure and thereafter reconcile with the FIRS for accountability and more revenue.
We have the target for this year, based on the approved budget, to collect 19.2 trillion, which is 7.2 trillion, more than what we actually collected this year. And given this economic condition and with the promise of Mr. President that we are not going to introduce additional tax, we are not going to increase any tax, considering the situation and welfare of our people, that what we need to do is to re-strategize within to make sure that we bring more people into tax net.
A lot of the measures that have been rolled out to turn the very challenging situation around are beginning to yield fruit. They are beginning to yield fruit. You find that, and I said this in my presentation, the liquidity of the foreign exchange market for quite a while has been less than satisfactory, as a result of which the central bank has rolled out certain policies to ease that.
Number one route to salvation is getting crude oil exports up. It is God-given. The price is at $80, $77/$80. You can't get much higher than that. In the days when we had $100 billion of revenue, the oil price wasn't that high, but production was at 2.2 million barrels. You can do the mathematics. In short, our easiest and quickest route to a better living standard for all Nigerians in the short term is raising oil production, oil exports, oil sales, bringing in foreign exchange.
The House, through a motion by Honorable Isiaka Ibrahim, wants the federal government to invest in high-impact measures and appeals to stakeholders in the production chain to be very realistic with the increment of their product prices. In the meantime, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Yemi Cardoso, is assuring that the inflation is expected to decline this year using the inflation targeting framework and moderating to 21.1%. He stated this during an interaction with the Joint Senate Committee on Finance, Banking, Insurance and Financial Institutions in Abuja. On the question of ineffective policies by the Apex Bank, Mr. Cardoso said the market is responding to the policies already put in place. He further asserts that for the policies to be sustainable, the nation must moderate its demand for foreign exchange. He adds that the CBN is working hard to restore credibility while maintaining that the genuine issue impacting the exchange rate is a demand for the US dollar for business and personal needs.
The genuine issue impacting the exchange rate is the simultaneous decrease in the supply of and increase in the demand for US dollars. It is also clear that the task of stabilizing the exchange rate, while an official mandate of the CBN, would necessitate efforts beyond the bank itself, which is exactly what I'm saying. It will also include actions by corporates and individuals to reduce our frequent demand for the dollar for business and for personal needs.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Gavel. The increased deluge of kidnappings in the nation's capital, it's a major concern for the lawmakers who at Wednesday's plenary in the House of Representatives began with a motion of urgent national importance on the security in the Federal Capital Territory. Let's check it out.
Wednesday's plenary in the House of Representatives begins with a motion of urgent national importance on security in the Federal Capital Territory. Lawmakers are worried about the increased spate of kidnappings in Abuja.
They state that since the compulsory registration of and linking of national identification numbers NIN by the federal government, there has never been a time it was deployed to tackle or address the pressing and scary state of insecurity in the Federal Capital Territory or the nation at large. Further worried that since criminal elements in and around the Federal Capital Territory are speedily evolving from the norm to advanced techniques of criminality, the security agencies of government ought to urgently move to digitalize their operations to return the Federal Capital Territory to its safest haven.
Next, the House considers a bill to amend the Electoral Act. Sponsor of the bill, Honorable Francis Waive, believes that certain concerns observed from the 2023 general elections must be quickly addressed.
I crave your indulgence to consider another amendment that I propose. In the 2022 Act, the matter of electronic transmission of results was not definite. I think that we are the lawmakers. We are the ones that make the law for the country. I think we should not make a law that will be vague, that will be interpreted differently by different courts of law.
During Thursday's plenary, Honorable Patrick Umar moved the motion on the urgent call on law enforcement agencies to stop the harassment of lawyers in Nigeria.
Worried that the lawyers have been subjected to harassment in forms of physical abuse, arrest and detention by law enforcement agencies in the course of discharging their constitutional and statutory functions, this House recalls that just recently, a lawyer, Douglas Ogbonkwa, was allegedly beaten and detained by the State Security Service in Benin, Edo State, for objecting against the recording of his client's statement without his presence, concerned that if harassment of lawyers is not contained and stopped, it will hinder lawyers from discharging their statutory responsibilities, restrict access to lawyers by citizens and residents, encourage human rights abuses, and in general, stall Nigeria's constitutional democracy.
An investigation is to be carried out by the House Committee on the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration, following the ban by the agency on the production of alcoholic beverages in sachets and small bottles in the country.
Worried that the decision to ban the registration of beverages in small sachets and bottles run contrary to the spirit and letters of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and run against the economic recovery plan of the current administration. Also worried that given the numerous economic challenges confronting all Nigerians, the ban on the production of the said beverages will cause more havoc and cause job losses to over 50% of workers in Nigeria.
The senator representing Ekiti South Senatorial District is our focus this week. Senator Yemi Adaramodu gives insight into his elaborate plans for his constituents.
I've always been with my people, even when I was not a legislator. And I was in the House of Representatives in the 9th Assembly. And before then, I had been the Chief of Staff in Ekiti State. I had been a local government chairman. And then my people in my own constituency, especially the South Central District that I represent now, they know me, that ever before I was made their senator, I've always been very, very close to them, very accessible to them. I've always made myself available to sit down with them, live with them. And even for now, I'm always at home. At times you can even almost not know whether I work in Abuja or in Ekiti South Central District. So I'm always at home. And then when I started as House of Representatives member from Ekiti South Central District Federal Constituency 1, comprising 3 local governments of Iseonu, Ikere, and Ekiti Southwest, I told them then that, look, if I represent you and I don't do well, if I come back next time for whatever position, don't support me. But if I've done well, let your votes show that I've done well. And to the greater glory of God and to the benevolence of our people, in Ekiti South Senatorial District, Federal Constituency 1 then, which I represented in the House of Representatives, there was no village, there was no town that I did not touch, that you will not see my own legacy. Either clinic, school, road, potable water provision, and several like that. Halls, town halls, and so many things like that. And apart from that, human development. And it will interest you that I even facilitated the employment of nothing less than 70 indigenes from that my own federal constituency then into various facets, various sectors, either federal government employment and sundry. So I did all those things. I have even given free uniforms to indigent students in schools across the Senatorial District. I've done empowerment for youth, ICT training and startup. I've done it for them. I've done for traders. I've done for even POS operators. I even give them POS machines and give them startup funds to start their POS. And I've done even empowerment, professional, because when I do my own empowerment, it has to be for the artisans. I look at them, especially women and the young ones. I look at them, if you have gone to train as a tailor and you are unable to maybe have your tools, I buy for them. For organizer, I bought for them, and several like that.
Do you have offices where you operate from?
Yes, I have my office. Yes, I have my office. My office is at Ado Road, Ikere Ekiti. That is the headquarters of my Senatorial District. It was the headquarters of my own federal constituency then, and then it's still the same headquarters of my Senatorial District. And when you get there, you will see activities there at my office, Senatorial office in Ikere Ekiti. That is along Ado Ekiti Road. Presently, we are upgrading the hall in the Ogoga Palace. We are upgrading it. And then, like I said, apart from several children that I'm training in schools, both in secondary and in the university, that I am training, apart from them, there are several of them. And then, I cannot even count how many that I do goodwill to and make sure that I help them to establish businesses, petty trade, and then give them support in their professions. I'm always at home. When you get to my Senatorial District, our people, they even nickname me. They even call me ATM. And before the local people can call you ATM, it means that automated transfer machine. So meaning that there's no way you will come to me and you will not take something away. So everybody knows that one in my own Senatorial District. And I'm like that. During Christmas, throughout, I didn't leave my people. I was there for Christmas. I was there New Year. I didn't travel anywhere. I didn't go to anywhere. I was at home. And then, apart from giving palliatives, apart from that one, I give, and directly given by me. So I still stayed at home, listen to them. You can ask. You can do your random sampling in my own Senatorial District. So I'm always there for them. And that is what I think I can do for our people.
That's the program this week. We would love to hear from you. Please send us an email at thegavel@channelstv.com. Thanks for watching. I am Benny Ark. Be well.